Okay, good morning, students. I hope I'm audible to all of you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Now, it's a regular lecture of Anjana ma'am, but as she is on leave because of some preoccupied engagements that she has, so I'll be dealing with this one session that I'm assigned. So that's there. I'm Mihir, Dr. Mihir Dave, and for today's this ETC session that you have, I'll be dealing with one of the components. Okay, so I hope the screen that I'm going to share should be visible to you. Uh, let's see. Yeah, I've just shared the screen. I hope it is visible to all of you. Okay, can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great, great. So now I don't know what's the orientation or what's your background in this subject called ETC. What ETC stands for, etc., etc. What the subject ETC stands for. This is not the first session, right? I'm sure aware of some basics. So if you could tell me, somebody. It's the name of your subject, right? I hope I'm audible to all of you.
Yes, sir. Effective technical communication.
Okay, that was Kunal. Thank you, Kunal. So that's what we mean by ETC. That is effective technical communication. And I'm sure you have studied something in the name of communication in the semester one, which is about give and take of information, ideas, feelings, emotions that we share. Okay. Yes, I could see Raj Kishore also shared effective technical communication. That's wonderful. But let's understand the terms, and then we'll come back to our today's topic, which is interpersonal communication. So communication is what? It is nothing but the give and take of ideas, emotions, feelings, and or information maybe. Right? You don't know something, and that's why you ask maybe a question, and then you receive some say response, maybe some information, maybe some ideas or opinion that you receive. So that's what communication stands for. Then within that communication, I'm sure you know two terms. One of the terms that we are going to use called, so that's one. You know this term? I just use the chat. The word I'm sure you'll be able to see in the chat called interpersonal. Have you come across this word? Interpersonal. The root word is of course personal. Uh, Even the base word could be person. I'm sure you know at least the word person. Okay. Of or related to a person is personal. That's how it goes, right? And then the derivative word is called interpersonal. But at least Kunal and others, you know the word person, right? Maybe I'm a new person for you. You know this word. Good. Then I'm sure you also know the word personal. Personal is something which is, you can use it as a private thing, something which is not public. No, public is that of everybody's possession, whereas personal is maybe individual possession or something which you can call a private thing. Okay, there is another confusing word which I think I should share with you called another spelling of personal called personnel. Personnel. Have you come across this word? Personnel. Students? Slight say variation in the spelling, not personal but personnel. That's a French derivative that's used in English also. Personnel. You might have heard like this called government personnel. No? See, some students joining. Okay. Okay. Do you know the word staff? Staff members or staff. That's the popular word, isn't it? Oh, great. So now, when you say staff, what do you mean? You know the word staff. It's a very common word. All of us know this word. Yep. Could somebody tell me what is staff? Yep. Is it very difficult questions that I'm asking, or is it the common practice that you don't participate? I don't know. There's only one Kunal I could see participating. The other students also, like 17 students are there. I think active participation is an issue. But if you participate, I'll be able to help. But I could see that at least Kunal is there. So yes, Kunal said people, a group of people for particular job. Okay. Uh, do you mean the people who work, say, in an office? That's what you're saying? People who work in an office together are called staff. For that word staff, you have a formal word called personnel. So personnel is a formal word for staff, right? The people who are working in an office together, or the people who belong to, let's say, government, say, offices or government body. Okay, so they can be called as the personnel. Now, Raj Kishore said worker. Now, problem with the word worker is that anybody who works could be called a worker, and usually it is used for the people who are on the field, right? The mason worker and other kinds of workers. So that's a different thing. Badge of office, Saurav said. I don't know for which word did you say, Saurav? Are you talking about the personnel or are you talking about the staff? But basically, I tried to give you two words. Staff that you already knew. The other word is called personnel, which is maybe the staff members, those who work together. Yes, so Saurav, a formal word for staff can be called the one that we discussed called personnel. But let's come back to interpersonal. That's a new word for all of us. I'll give you a very difficult word. Let's see if you know English. Do you know this word? International. It's a very difficult word. Nobody knows this, right? A group of people work for a particular organization. Yes, I think Raj, you are talking about personnel or staff. So that's a correct definition. Now I'm asking you a difficult question. Okay, something related to out of our country, that is international. That's Rishi. Thank you, Rishi. Of or related to any other country than your own, right? So this is what Rishi also told us. So that's a good definition. Something other than nation or national is international, or something that is out of your nation is international, isn't it? So that word is very popular. Now, do you know this word? International, of or related to other nations, so that you are clear. But do you know this word? Intranational. Look at the spelling. Very close to international. INTER is international. This is INTRA, intranational. Have you heard this word? Intranational. Something of our own country. Okay. So can we not call it national, Rishi? If it is of our nation, we call it national, right? National policies, national rules. So National and intra-national are same. That's what you're saying, Rishi? Okay, involving two countries is intranational. So Raj Kishore said involving two. You mean countries, right? If it is two plural, so countries. So that's not the case, Raj Kishore. It is the case which Rishi tried, which is within the country. I'll tell you another common example. Have you heard this word? Inter-university and intra-university. So let's say there is a competition. If it is an inter-university competition, what does it mean? That there was an inter-university competition. So the competition between a university with another university, competition between different universities, Rishi said, competition between different universities. That is inter-university, right, Rishi? Okay, then what about intra-university? Intra-university. If there is a competition shared between two or more universities. Okay, that's what Saurav said. Well, that's not the case. Rishi said within the universities. That means, let's say Marwadi is a university. There is a competition within university. Let's say some students from engineering, some students from MBA, some students from pharmacy. There is a competition. So that is a competition within the university, and that's why it is called intra-university. Now I think you'll be able to understand international and intranational. Okay. So when you say there was a cricket match, international cricket match, that means India versus some other country, that is international. If it is intranational, that will be within India. Let's say Gujarat versus Rajasthan, right? So that way, so team of Gujarat and team of Rajasthan, that is intranational. That is within India, within the nation. So that is there. So I guess you know two terms. These are the prefixes. Prefix, the words that are added before another word will change the meaning. So they are called prefixes. Say for example, inter and intra. Okay. So when you say inter, that is talking about two bodies, maybe two universities, maybe two countries, maybe two nations. Okay. So that's inter. When you say intra, that is within a country or within a university. Okay, so that's the case. Now, let's come back to our word for which we are doing this exercise called communication. So, communication can be two ways. One is a word that we use interpersonal, and the other is intrapersonal. Now, what do you think interpersonal communication can be? What do you think? Interpersonal communication. You already know what is communication. Communication is give and take of ideas, emotions, feelings, etc. etc. And then we have the word interpersonal communication. So, what do you think interpersonal communication could be? Okay, so Rishi said communication between different organizations. Okay, so that's one opinion Rishi said. So, do you mean to say personal is organizational? So, Rishi, if I say inter-organizational, then inter-organization and intra-organization. Then your definition that communication between different organizations can be inter-organization. An inter-organization competition was held where more than one organizations participated and there was a competition. Okay, so that is inter-organization. The definition that you said or quoted is right, but do you think it can be applicable to interpersonal? Because personal is not organizational, right? Related to what? you said that, but related to what? Related to person, related to organization, related to what? Okay, related to personnel. Now check the spelling, Rishi. Check the spelling. I'm not using the word personnel. I'm using the word personal. Yes, the second word that you typed, Rishi. So I'm using the second word, interpersonal. Okay. Yes. So Kunal gave a definition: communication between two. You mean not TOW. I think you mean two TWO or more persons. Okay. Two is obviously plural, so persons. So that's the definition. So when two or more than two person to person communication is going on, that is called interpersonal communication. As simple as this. Make sense? A person communicating to other person can be termed as interperson. The definition that you already have, international, that is a nation versus nation. Interpersonal, a person versus or person with other person communicating, isn't it? Okay, communication between two or more person. That's the definition. Okay, but because it is two, Raj Kishore, it will be persons because it's a plural, right? So communication between two or more persons can be called the interpersonal communication. Now, what do you think about the second word? Look at the spelling, intrapersonal communication. What do you think could that mean? Interpersonal, person to person. Okay, communication between two or more, say, person. That's correct definition. Rajkumar and Kunal and other friends gave us. So that's wonderful. But then now you already know two prefixes, inter and intra. Here we are saying intrapersonal. So what do you think it could mean? Intrapersonal. Self-talk, Rohan said. Very interesting. Do you talk to yourself ever? We need somebody to talk, isn't it? But do you talk in your head? Do you talk to yourself? If you want to talk, you need at least two people, isn't it? At least one more person. Okay, Rajkumar said communication with oneself. Okay, do you do that? Do you talk to yourself? Do you communicate with yourself or within yourself? That you ask the question and then you yourself answer it. Do you do that? Right? There is a word called think. So when you think, what do you do? When you think, you are basically talking to yourself, recalling something, that is trying to recollect, right? So there is a word called recollect, right? But when you say think, when you say introspect, in case you know this word, you know this word introspect. One who does is doing introspection. Okay, so that is to think and try and understand what happened and why it happened and how can you do it better. The best time where you have this would be during your examinations, the traditional examination, not the one that you have nowadays called online examination, but the traditional exam. I'm sure all of you have appeared for some exams, some traditional exams. So there, in the exam, you are not allowed to talk to your friend or colleague or to anybody on the phone, right? You just have a piece of paper called answer sheet wherein you write your answers. This is what you do, isn't it, in the exam? You can write, but you cannot speak, right? But now remember your 10-15 minutes before the exam starts, or in fact during also, but specifically the first 5-10 minutes of the exam, when you get the question paper and then you see the questions that your teacher told you to prepare well, but you did not, you could not, right? And then you realize, oh, I should have read, I should have worked more hard. Or you may feel very happy that, yes, this is the question that I prepared last night and the same question has come. You might be saying thank you. to your friend, to your teacher who suggested that, "No, prepare these two questions. They are very important. They can come in the exam." And then you are thanking, you are talking, you are celebrating already without speaking. So with whom are you talking? You are talking to yourself, right? So that's one example. The examination, for example, or any difficult situation where you are not talking but thinking a lot. So that kind of say thinking, or that kind of communication is called intrapersonal communication. That is communication within oneself, right? When you think, when you introspect, when you try to understand, right? Understand yourself, understand others, or maybe the given situation. So that's what you do when you have intrapersonal communication. That is within yourself, which is very healthy thing that you should do, right? Uh, Antonyms of what? Saurav? The antonym is having an opposite meaning. It's not opposite, they are kinds. It's like mechanical engineering and civil engineering. Are they antonyms? No, they are not antonyms. They are rather two branches of engineering. Similarly, when you say communication, so there are many, but broadly speaking, two kinds of communication. A communication, say, between a person, and a communication within a person. So there are two kinds of communication. They are not contradicting, they are not antonyms for sure, but there are two kinds or two ways in which we communicate or we can communicate. Okay, so that is interpersonal and intrapersonal. So intrapersonal is more to do with this the mental health. Those who communicate say more within themselves are mentally fit. Those who don't, they at times have problems. They need friends, they need somebody to talk, they need somebody to say share. If they don't get it, they feel very lonely and nervous and down, right? So for that not to happen, make sure that you enjoy your own company. If whenever you are alone and when you are not able to stay alone, you just need cell phone to talk to somebody, you chat with somebody, you are calling somebody, you are never alone. Thanks to smartphones and cell phones and social media, you are never alone. It's not because it's an available option, it's also because you are not comfortable staying alone. You always need somebody to talk or to communicate or just to sing together maybe, right? So this is something shows that there is some issue you have with yourself. That is, you are not comfortable staying alone. There you need, say, intra communication, something which is communicating, intrapersonal communication. You need to talk, you need to enjoy your own company also. Only then others will enjoy your company, or you may enjoy somebody else's company. Okay, so that's something for the psychological segment, that you should not feel bored or lonely or down or helpless to the worst when you're alone, right? You should be doing something creative, something that you enjoy, which is, you are doing something. Watching something alone is not an activity, it's a passive activity. Maybe a movie or a maybe web series what you're watching, but that's not say an activity. An activity could be reading. Let's say you are actively reading it. So you are doing something. Or let's say maybe doing painting or maybe doing your homework, something that you are actually doing. Right? So that's something that you should try and look at. Okay. So that if you do, you'll enjoy somebody else's company only when you are comfortable with your own self. If you are incomplete within yourself, you are definitely not going to feel complete with anybody else. Anybody. Okay, so that's what the modern psychologists are saying, that you should be first of all comfortable with your own self. Only then you can be comfortable with others. So that's the background. Anyways, now let's come back to the workplace. Now the topic that you have is a workplace say communication and the importance of interpersonal communication in today's organizations. So this is the background with which we'll be able to understand. Now, when you talk of an organization, that means a place where many people are working together, maybe on the same project or maybe on many parallel projects, right? And it's not one person working on a project. It will be many people working, or many say staff members or personnel working on a project, right? That means you are not alone. So then that means there will not be one head. that is working. There'll be many heads with their own ways of doing things. And if you don't talk or if you don't communicate with the people whom with you are working, then your work would be very, very slow. How is what we are going to see. So say importance of interpersonal communication within an organization, especially in today's world, is important because of this. So we are the human beings. We are not machines. If you train a machine, if you make optimum, say automation, a machine can work, but we are not machines. So if we work, say long, we need some communication. We need people to talk and share our feelings, right? Now just imagine, say working in an organization without having no friends, right? Just working like machines. That's not a good idea, isn't it? So there, it is essential to have trustworthy fellow workers around with whom one can share all the secrets without the fear of getting leaked. Right? You share an information that you don't like your boss to your colleague, and your colleague would go and tell your boss that no, he was saying that he disliked you, or any secret that you might share that can be leaked or can be used against you, right? So that is the reason why you need, say, friends with whom you can trust, who will not leak, who will not will not use the information or your secret against you, right? So that's there, and we must have friends at workplace who can give you an honest feedback, right? The one side is they might say backbite. The other problem is, just ask yourself, look at around you, your family members, your friends. How many of the people do you have in your family or in your friend circle that can tell you the truth? For example, if you have done something stupid or if you have done something which is not up to the mark, do you have some friends or family members who will give you this honest feedback that you did well, but you still could have done much better. This is not your best. You just passed the exam, but you could have done much better. So those honest feedbacks you will need, and honest feedbacks are given to those who are open for it. Once you try and tell the truth to your friend, and your friend will stop talking to you, next time you will avoid telling truth to him at least, isn't it? So that's a common psychology, that you will be honest with the people who can digest this honesty. Everybody may not like or may not digest the honesty, okay? And that you will discover by staying with them. And understand, we are talking about your colleagues, your co-workers, not your relations. No matter how bad, say, relation you have with your brothers or sisters, or even the worst, your parents, you don't have an available option to leave them. They are your brothers, your sisters, your family. You can't leave them. At a workplace, you still have this opportunity that if you don't like, you may change the job, or they might change the job. But that is not an available option in the family and friends. On the other hand, you also don't have the option of fighting with them the way you fight with your family members. They are working together, and nothing more than this, nothing less than this. So you should always know the thin line between the friends and the colleagues. If you confuse them, you will always have, say, more trouble than you can handle. So there, of course, you need some, say, friendly colleagues who can help you, right? So employees can brainstorm together to reach up, say better ideas and strategies. Strategies must be discussed on an open platform where every individual has the liberty to express his or her views. Because you are going to work together, you need to work in a team, right? If there is a car that you want to pull, if you don't discuss, one is pushing this way, other pushing is that way, you will reach nowhere, right? So you should have the plan, and while planning, you should have a brainstorming. I'm sure you know the term brainstorming. You heard this word brainstorming? No? You know the word brain? That's a part of your body, by the way. Like your hands, your head, your nose, the same way you have a brain also. Did you know that? And the derivative word is brainstorming. There is a separate word also, storm. I'm sure you know this. A storm. Can you see the chat? The word that I typed. The the root word is brain. Another word is storm, and putting together you are making a word called brainstorm. ING is brainstorming, but basically brainstorm. So what do you do when you brainstorm? It's an activity. Brainstorming is an activity. Have you come across this word, or is it a new word for some of you or all of you? Brainstorming. Do we have the students? I don't know. Or are they brainstorming? What are they doing? Brainstorm. Okay, we have some late students who joined. Okay. Okay. Overload of thought. Well, that's not that, Kunal. It's not overload. It's not even load. I mean, you never heard this word, brainstorm? It seems you have never. Okay. Have you heard the word called discussion? Discussion. That's very popular word, I'm sure. You know the word discussion, right? So in a discussion, you just discuss your idea, somebody else's idea, but then you are not expected to come to a common conclusion. In order to come to a common conclusion, you need to allow others to speak and then you add, right? When you do a brainstorming, is asking difficult questions. How can you do this work? What is the deadline? What will you do? What will the other person will do? What job should be given to this person? Okay, what will be the plan? How are you going to do that? So all those discussion that takes place within a group or maybe a team is called brainstorming. You know, heated debate, agreeing, disagreeing. You know, so all these honest discussions take place in a brainstorming. Where you're trying to find out new solutions. In a discussion, we just discuss what happened. Okay, we don't try to find out some new say discoveries, right? It is the brainstorm wherein you try and say talk and come up with some say new solutions. Okay, uh, talking about something seriously, yes, especially in order to find some solutions or maybe the process, that in what way are we going to do this, or if there is a project, what the process we are going to follow, right? So for that, wherever there is a discussion, that's called brainstorming. Understand? So that's what is required. And for that to happen, you need to have a fairly good discussion with your colleagues, with your employees, and that's required, right? And there could be a better communication when you just have closeness. So, for example, a pat on a back goes a long way in extracting the best out of individuals. A person who takes the lecture and a person who just pats on you and say, let's discuss, let's try and understand, right? So one needs to have say people at the workplace who are more like the mentors than mere colleagues. The word mentor, colleagues, I'm sure you know, colleagues, co-workers are also known as colleagues, right? But who are the mentors? All of you know the word mentor. If you come to Marwadi, you definitely know the word mentor, isn't it? Who is a mentor? Mentor, and the one who receives the mentoring is called mentee, isn't it? So, who is the mentor? Mentor is a person who will guide you, who will help you, right, in your difficult times, right? So that's what a mentor does. So you are saying that to your employees, if you want a better communication at a workplace, make sure that you don't just behave like a colleague, those who just work together, but a mentor who is always ready to help, right? We need colleagues to say fall back on at the times of crisis. What is the fallback? Is it to fall back like that? To fall back is to go for help. When you say fall back means whenever you're in trouble, you would go back to some people, maybe friend, maybe some family member. You know that when you go to him or her, he or she will always not just advise Raj Kishore, but will also help you in whatever ways he or she can. Only then you will go with them. And above all, you will go to the people who will not just help you or advise you, but will also not judge you. They'll not judge you. They'll say, okay, whatever happened, let's try and find a solution, isn't it? So such people you go to, right? And if you are working in an organization, there'll be very good times, there'll be average times, and there could be some bad times also, times of crisis also, right? So when you are in a crisis, you need help. You need uh, say kind of help without any judgments. Okay, so that's what we could see in our this discussion, that in an organization, if you do not talk with anybody, you just be on your own, then nobody would come and help you, because they think that, well, he's not my friend, he does his work, I do my work, we are not friends anymore. But if you have a friendly say colleague to whom you have also helped, and you are also ready to get help from them, right? So an individual working all alone would obviously overburden and could never finish his task within the deadlines. But the support of the fellow workers, that's why becomes very, very important, isn't it? So that's the last slide of the day that we'll discuss, called you just can't do everything on your own, right? No matter how powerful you are, you'll always need, say, some help, right? So roles and responsibilities must be delegated as per the specialization, education, qualifications, and of course the interests of the employees, right? So if you are a mechanical engineer and you have specialized in that area, your work should be related to mechanical engineering, related to your field of expertise, right? And your interest also. Then, of course, the best thing could come out of you. And of course, you are told that an individual needs help of his fellow workers to complete the assignments on the time for the better result. If you work alone, your speed would be singular. If you work as a team, your speed would get multiplied, isn't it? So that's what we should try and look at, right? So that's the quiz for you. Try and find out whether this statement is true or false. And in the meantime, I'll also invite all of you to write down your names and enrollment numbers in the chat for the attendance purpose. I think we are almost 12, say 10 is the lecture ending time, so it's almost 12 plus. So we can do these parallel things. One is, there is a quiz for you. You need to read the statement and need to try and identify whether, what do you think, this statement is true or false. One. Second, in the parallel, also write your complete name and complete, say, enrollment number in the chat for the attendance. Okay. So once those who are done, then they can unmute their mic and they can give the answer maybe after 1 or 2 minutes. Till then, please fill up your names and enrollment numbers here. Okay. I could see some answers. Okay. So Saurav, Sridhar, Raj Kishore, they answered that they think this statement is true. Okay. What's the statement? That one needs to have people at the workplace who are more like mentors than mere colleagues. You just don't need mentors. Sorry, you just don't need the colleagues, but you also need the mentors. That's what the slide says. And based on your reading, I'm sure all of you could get the answer right, which is, the statement is true. That yes, you need colleagues who are more like mentors and not just colleagues those who are working together, isn't it? So that's say wonderful. And I think most of you could write down your names in case anybody has not yet written, say their names. They are requested. Please write your complete enrollment number and your say name in your chat box. So that would be your attendance. Okay. So let's look at something else. Okay. So there is one more true or false. I'm sure you'll be able to understand this. Even if you don't worry. Statement goes like this: beliefs in the cultural iceberg are found on the surface. So, what do you think about this statement? True or false? Well, you may not be able to answer for two reasons. One is you may not know some of the words used in this statement, right? Say cultural iceberg, right? Or on the surface or something like that. So, Raj Kishore thinks it is false. Okay, but what do you mean by this statement? That beliefs in the cultural iceberg are not found on the surface. What do you mean by this statement? That's a difficult question, isn't it? Now, I'll leave here. Please remember this slide called the statement called say beliefs in the cultural icebergs are say found on the surface. So from there, you request ma'am whenever she comes for the next lecture to continue from here. Okay. So in the meantime, you try and find out what do they mean by say beliefs, what do they mean by the cultural iceberg, and of course, what do they mean by it is found or not found on the surface. So that you can brainstorm, you can think, you can Google, and try and find out. And from here, from this slide, I'm sure ma'am will continue. Okay. So I don't know about you students, but I enjoyed dealing with this class. That was very enthusiastic and participation was very nice. So thank you all students for your participation. Next lecture, I'm sure Anjana ma'am will be back and she will continue from uh, where we left. So please remember this because I'll not be there. I'll definitely inform her. But in case she forgets, whenever she comes, uh, please tell her to start from this slide. Okay, and to discuss this slide. Okay, so that's all from my side. Thank you. Uh, okay, Rajkumar, I can give you an answer, but you need an explanation also, right? That what do you mean by this, and what do you mean by the cultural, say, iceberg? What do you mean by iceberg? Is it the same sense it is used here? Like you know the word iceberg? Iceberg. It's a tip of the mountain, a floating mountain in an ocean, right? Where you could see only the tip of it, but actually there is a huge mountain, say below. So while you are say sailing in an ocean, you should be super careful with the iceberg. Like Titanic, all of you know, because of this the iceberg and underestimation of the size of the iceberg, the history of Titanic changed. है ना? So that's there. But that's a word used in geography. Is it the same sense used here? We are saying cultural iceberg. So it is not in the same sense that we are using the word iceberg. The word iceberg is used in some other context. Cultural iceberg. You understand? So that needs more sort of a discussion. It will not be simple yes or no or true or false answer, but you should also understand what do you mean by this statement. That beliefs in the cultural aspects are found on the surface. What does that mean, first of all? Is what you need to discuss. And I'm sure Anjana may would discuss deep. On the surface, you will not get the answer or you will not understand the answer. That's the problem. Okay, so that's why I deliberately leave it incomplete because you need to discuss, right, in details, which I'm sure Anjana ma'am would do. So I hope that all of you have written your names and enrollment numbers in the chat. If you have, you can leave. That's the end of your this session. See you then. No, I'll not see, but Anjana ma'am would come, and that's all for today. Thank you all for your participation. Yeah. So those who have written their names and enrollment numbers, they can leave. Thank you.